Plastics, the amazing material of the future. It's lightweight, it's cheap, and so durable. It lasts forever. Unfortunately, plastic really does last practically forever. We recycle a little bit of it. The rest goes either into the landfill or into an even bigger graveyard.
2.5% of world production ends up in the ocean. That's a huge amount when you're looking at 250 million tons a year.
When it comes to the plastic-filled sea, Captain Charles Moore is the canary in the coal mine.
Umbrella handles!
Shall we go for Mary Poppins? I grew up swimming, sailing, surfing, collecting shells with my grandmother, and you didn't see plastic waste floating around in the ocean. That ocean is gone now, and I watched that change happen.
Moore was a furniture restorer with a fondness for the sea. But one day in 1997, sailing back from a sailboat race, he saw something in the North Pacific that shouldn't have been there. Floating bits of plastic.
It's amazing, the variety of debris that we found. Everything from toothbrushes and umbrella handles and popsicle sticks to industrial plastics.
He had stumbled into a swirling sewer of floating plastic the size of Texas. It's earned the nickname the Great Pacific Garbage Patch.
There's this popular idea that what you discovered is a giant plastic island.
Nothing could be further from the truth. It's not connected like an island. It's not solid. It's a dispersed soup, we call it, of trash, and they're really just places where currents tend to accumulate the detritus of civilization.
Moore soon learned that the North Pacific Garbage Patch was only the beginning. It turns out that there are 5 giant swamps of floating plastic in the world's oceans. So he got busy. He started a foundation to study the problem. He learned how to write papers for scientific journals.
What is that fine-looking contraption?
It's designed in the same principle as a filter-feeding ray called a manta ray. It's a very efficient, accurate tool for capturing surface debris.
When he drags this special sieve through the North Pacific Garbage Patch,
halfway between here and Honolulu,
this is the result.
Gosh! It's a junkyard! Thousands of miles from shore?
Absolutely, yep. Line, stirrers, parts of former things. Well, this is a ring from, that was a bottle cap was twisted off of. It's got what we call the nurdles, the pre-production plastic pellets, Jinchin, a nice Asian toothbrush.
The plastic soup doesn't just look gross, it may also pose a serious threat to the planet's health. First, as the plastic breaks down into crumbs, it looks to sea life exactly like food.
Fish get fooled. Birds get fooled. We found 35% of the fish we caught out there to have eaten plastic.
Do we then eat that fish?
That fish is eaten by fish that we eat. So, yes, it is coming back to haunt us.
Then there's the matter of abandoned commercial fishing nets.
It's called ghost fishing. The net has been lost by the fisherman, and his net continues fishing. That process is killing perhaps millions of sea creatures every year.
Call me an optimist, but I really do think we can solve this problem.
Nancy Wallace represents our government's response to the problem. She's the director of the Marine Debris Program for NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. It's not a very big program.
We get $4 million appropriated each year.
And how many people are you?
So we're 13 strong.
Wow.
It's a diverse agency with lots.
They have their work cut out for them, starting with research. NOAA isn't even sure that Captain Moore is right, that we eat plastic ourselves when we eat fish.
The research is not there yet. Are there chemicals that are leaching off of the plastic into the fish, and then what happens when we eat that fish? But we just don't know yet.
One thing they do know is that we can't scoop the plastic back out of the ocean.
We think that it would take something like hundreds of ships, thousands of days, and hundreds of millions of dollars to go out there and clean up the ocean.
Still, here and there, you can find signs of hope. Take, for example, those wandering fishing nets.
We have partnered with industry, the energy industry, Covanta Energy in particular, and Schnitzer Steel to provide free spaces for fishermen on ports to drop off their old gear, so it's at no cost to them. And then the energy companies come and pick it up and recycle the pieces and burn the nets for energy.
Meanwhile, the plastics industry has launched its own global initiative to clean up marine litter. For example, one program has greatly improved the problem of those pre-production plastic pellets.
Incidence of plastic pellets as a share of the marine debris has actually gone down over the last 2 decades.
But we're not out of the woods yet. Last year's tsunami in Japan unleashed a huge debris field that's floating across the Pacific. Captain Moore is planning a voyage this May to measure and sample that debris. NOAA is actively monitoring its path towards Hawaii and the American mainland.
It is on the world's radar, and last March we actually had a conference where we brought together people from over 30 countries, 450 participants to address the problem of marine debris. And the great thing is how much research is going on all over the world.
Yes, there are positive signs, and certainly it gives me added energy to continue the struggle.
Sometimes, even the little guy can be an agent of change.
But it's incredible. You weren't a scientist. You weren't a liberal flag-waving granola eater. You were a guy who cared.
Let's have more of me.